It's the NBA playoffs. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the More Than Phillies Sports Network. It is great to be here with all of you today. It is 6:22 p.m. here on the East Coast, May 18th, 2021. We continue to inch closer to 1 year arguing with that man right there. Yes, I may look a little bit sunburnt or tan, whatever you want to call it. I was out on the links a little bit earlier today. Talk is back. I know Gavin's Smack Talk is also back. But hey, as always, you're alongside my co-host, Gavin, Tony. Gavin, I am excited for this show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Zach. And listen, that's not suntan. That might be sunburnt. All right, I don't know who told you it was a tan. We gotta get some sunblock. All right, I can show you how to tan, Zach. I can show you how to do it. All right, I'm a professional how to do it. But all jokes aside,
we will have to do the experiment later on. Maybe the hair will turn blonde too. We're trying to do that this summer.
Listen, there's only one person I know hair's turned blonde, and that's our good friend Matt Bitcher. All right, I don't know how he does it, but it's him. All right. But all jokes aside, Zach, I'm good. I had a long day today. Trying to get set up for when I turn 18 and a few things there. But how you doing?
I'm doing good. Look, we were supposed to have a few guests on today. Unfortunately, due to some changes in my schedule, we were unable to do that. But hey, stay tuned. As I just told Gavin before the show, the NBA is a long, long postseason. We are excited for it. We have a lot to go over. Gavin, tonight starts off something new. And outside of last year, it is new. It is the play-in tournament. I'm not a big fan of it. We talked about it before. We debated that the other day with Dom on the show. All that pushed aside, it's here. The play-in tournament is here. I got to be honest, even though half these teams tonight playing are under 500, it doesn't matter because we have two games of highly intense win or go home in one of the circumstances basketball. We have the 7 and 8 seed, the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards at 9 o'clock tonight. And we have the 9 and 10 seeds, the Charlotte Hornets and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana at 6:30. That kicks off momentarily. I'm excited for it. I really am. Look, again, we talked about this. We're not going to go into big details of whether or not we like the play-in tournament today, but it's like college basketball. Any team, no matter what your record is. Again, the Boston Celtics, Washington Wizards, before the season started, you're taking the Celtics. Tonight, it might be a different story. Russell Westbrook might get his first ever triple-double in a play-in game. Would be the first triple-double in a play-in game. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be hype. Fans are going to be there. It's going to be exciting. It's the closest thing we've had to normal basketball since last season before it was shut down. Gavin, what are some of your thoughts before we dive deeply, specifically into these two games?
Well, Zach, first, if you look at all four play-in games, the only game I'm not really excited for is kind of San Antonio and the Grizzlies because no disrespect to the Spurs, but they don't really deserve to be there. I mean, that's a temp seed. We talked about it all the time. 9 and 8 and 3 and 11. I don't know what they are. But Zach, they don't deserve to be in. They're the 10, all right? But having said all that, if you look at the matchups, outside you got Steph Curry, arguably the best player in the game right now because how hot he is, versus
LeBron's pick for MVP.
And then you got LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and then if you look at tonight, you got the young gun LaMelo Ball versus Caris LeVert, who we all know, we all love his story, Zach. For those who may or may not know, he was part of the James Harden trade, which arguably saved his life, Zach. Without that trade, he would have known that he had kidney cancer and ultimately worse outcome. But Zach, you got Caris LeVert, and we know what Caris LeVert does in the playoffs. Zach, personally, we've seen it as Sixers fans. And then tonight, you got Brody and Bradley Beal. You got arguably one of the best point guards to ever play this game, and most athletic point guard by far. And you got a killer in Bradley Beal versus Jason Tatum and cardiac Kemba Walker. And damn it, if Jaylen Brown was there, I mean, this match will be insane, ladies and gentlemen. But here's my number one problem about tonight's matchup for that one. It's just the Boston Celtics shouldn't be here, but they're there. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Well, you could say the same about the Lakers, but look, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're going to happen tonight, whether or not they're above 500, whether or not it matters. The games are here. All 4 teams have an opportunity. All 8 teams, I should say, have an opportunity to be in the playoffs with as high as the 7 seed. And there's been 7 seeds that did well. The Mavericks were 7 last year. Years past, there have been some notable 7 seeds who have made noise. Even the 8 seed, everybody gets an opportunity. Again, it's going to be a long playoff. We're going to bleed into July. But let's dive into it specifically. Tonight, 6:30, a correction, Gavin. Caris LeVert, due to health and safety protocols, will not be playing.
Oh, we're getting gypped on Karis LeVert. What is that?
Just fresh off the presses a few hours ago. I'm trying to figure out some more information.
Oh.
It's Domantas Sabonis against the entire Charlotte Hornets, essentially.
No one cares about Domantas Sabonis. No disrespect to him. I know he's
trying to figure out more.
20, 15, and 10 as of recently, but Zach, no one cares about Domantas Sabonis.
But yes, Justin Shams tweeting out Indiana Pacers guard Karis LeVert is expected to miss tonight's play-in tournament game versus the Charlotte Hornets due to health and safety protocols, sources say. So that is breaking news. That's unfortunate for them. That could change the prediction. Maybe not. I was rooting for the Pacers yesterday. That will change my prediction. But before we get to mine, Gavin, any other thoughts on the game before we get to the predictions?
Well, real quick, Zach, this is why we had to play in tournament for reasons like that. Zach, Boston Celtics were the top 5 team in the East early in the year. Remember, Jason Tatum was on a tear. We way too early MVP predictions. We had Jason Tatum in the top 3 behind our beloved Joel Embiid, and I think at the time it was you put LeBron James in there. But we saw what happened with COVID, and we saw he never came back to that potential. Guys been in and out of the lineup. So when we talk about the play-in, reasons like this, it's unfortunate. I really wanted to see Karis LeVert ball out tonight. But damn, I mean, can't.
Yeah, unfortunately, not much to be done about that. That's part of why the play-in tournament exists. A lot of guys, a lot of teams who may have better records, they unfortunately, due to some of these circumstances, continue to struggle. However, with that being said, Gavin, let's kick it off. Hornets, Pacers, 6:30 p.m., moments away from tipping off in Indiana. Charlotte's been in and out of the top 4 seed at one point, but with LaMelo Ball's injury, they went down. But Ball's back and healthy. Even when he wasn't, they were holding the fort down. Terry Rozier was able to do really well for them. And yes, the announcer there might need to take a chill pill with Terry, but in all seriousness, we love the excitement. Terry Rozier's been there. A couple other nice role players. Gordon Hayward's been there. They've been able to do some really nice job with him. I'm forgetting the name of the shooting guard right now, but he does really well. Bridges does really well for them. They have a lot of good pieces on top of LaMelo Ball. Gavin, I'll let you start it off. Who are you taking tonight in this matchup?
Well, I mean, damn, there's no Karis LeVert. I guess I have to go with LaMelo Ball now. Look, Zach, I said this yesterday, and Dom agreed, and I'm going to say it again. This Hornets team reminds me of when the Brooklyn Nets, led by D'Angelo Russell, went to the playoffs. They didn't win the series, but they got a game versus the Sixers. The Hornets are a bunch of group of players and a couple veterans that just play well with each other and were able. At one point, Zach, they were a top 5 team in the East. Injuries happen, some things happen, and now they find themselves here. But Zach, they're a group of players that can play well with each other. They're not going to win, any major series in the playoffs. They could get a game or two, and Zach, they're the new fun team to watch in the NBA. I mean, LaMelo Ball with a little spin corner shot. Miles Bridges literally violating everybody at the rim, and the announcer. I think that's the real reason why I watched the game. He needs to relax with his throat. Zach, his throat makes my throat hurt. But all serious, Zach, listen. They have the keys to go to the playoffs. They don't have the keys to win a playoff series. The experience is not there. I mean, you have 2 guys that's been in Gordon Hayward and Scary Terry Rozier. But outside of that, Bismack Biyombo is not really much. P.J. Washington is still trying to find his footing, and Miles Bridges is turning on a new level. It's like this team in years to come is going to be scary. And real quick, Zach, LaMelo Ball is a big difference, but don't forget about Graham either. But LaMelo Ball, that's not my Rookie of the Year candidate because he missed a lot of games. He did come back, but that impact he brings to the floor is something special.
Certainly, yes, Devontae Graham was the name that I was thinking of, the shooting guard. He's had himself a really solid start to his career. The kid knows what he's doing. Michael Jordan, native of North Carolina, purchases the team, goes out on a limb, brings in Terry Rozier a few years ago, gives him some decent cash, goes out and traded Kemba Walker in the sign and trade. I think they're better off. I think they're better off the way they're constructed right now without having Kemba Walker there. Kemba was a good player for Charlotte. But I think Buzz City's doing a little better now than they were. I think they're on the way up. I think that they have the potential to attract a veteran that can come in and lead this team. Any ideas come to mind? Not yet. We'll talk about that when the free agency comes in the summer, late summer, early August. And then we can see what happens with them. But yes, with that being said, they are going to be an early exit this year. They can make some noise, but they need a big. They need someone down low to really help out. They're struggling at that 4-5 position. But hey, I like them tonight. I think they're going to beat Indiana. I think even if they do lose tonight, or they do lose, they're done. I think they do need to win tonight. They need to pull through. I have confidence that they'll be able to take care of business. Then again, you do have Sabonis, you do have Turner, you have some of those veterans, but talent-wise, purely, I have to go with Charlotte.
Malcolm Brogdon still plays for the Indiana Pacers, but Zach, Malcolm Brogdon has missed a lot of games due to hamstring injuries. He was averaging 21 points on this season, but I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be the team versus who's going to be the other guy leading for, the Pacers. We seen Scary Terry drop 40 points. We seen LaMelo Ball have his nights. We seen where they all share the ball well. If it's one of those nights where the Hornets where either Scary's dropping all the points, whether it's team basketball, whether it's LaMelo Ball controlling the game at his pace, who on the Pacers is going to stop that? You don't have Karis LeVert, and no disrespect to Malcolm Brogdon, but I don't see him doing that. Zach, if you're looking at this matchup now, and you say, okay, we see their guys, but when you look at Indiana, you're like, okay, Domantas Sabonis, okay, 20 and 20 and 5 is nice. That's nice. Okay, Miles Turner, kind of up and down year, didn't really hear much from him. And then, like I said, Malcolm Brogdon. But I will say this. Dom said it yesterday. It's time for a coaching change. They just got a new coach, but Dom said he's heard some things about that coach and the franchise, and that team's not ready to go to the playoffs yet.
No, I said they're ready to be done with him. He said their lack of experience, doesn't know what he's doing, was not ready for the job. Similar to the Cleveland Browns, where you had talent, you bring in the wrong guy, and you just can't right the ship. They were off to a rocky start early in the year, never could recover. It gets hard to tell in a COVID year. But with that being said, a preview as to what tonight could look like for both teams. Past 10 games, the Charlotte Hornets are 3-7 on a 5-game losing streak. They are 33-39 on the season. That's a .458 win percentage. 1 game back of the Pacers, which were 34-38, 5-5 in their last 10, and a 1-game winning streak for them to end the season. Here's the big number that matters, and it matters not because it's a series. It's 1 game, and that's the home and away records. Indiana, this year at home, taking a look, they were 13-23. Away, 21-15. The Hornets were 500 at home and 6 games below 500 on the road. I don't know. There's not much there to tell me. 10 games below 500 for Indiana at home. Bottom line is home field advantage doesn't add up tonight. The Hornets have lost 5 straight. It's going to be tough for them. It's going to be closer than some people think it is with Karis LeVert out. But again, I'm going to still side with Charlotte on this one. Gavin, anything else on this game before we do proceed and talk about the next game that we're breaking down tonight?
In the season series, the Hornets have it 2-1. And the last 2 wins they had versus the Pacers did not include LaMelo Ball. And the last game was pretty much a blowout on the Hornets end. So the Hornets lead 2-1. Zach, I kind of think the Pacers don't even a series up this year. I think it's over, and they need to rebuild. Or not rebuild, excuse me. They need to regroup after this year.
Yeah, for sure. We will see how it rolls down tonight. Currently, it did tip off relatively early for them. 3-3 is the score currently. We'll continue to keep updates as we do continue to show into the early first quarter of this game. Coming up after this, big game for the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards, the more exciting matchup of the night. Who will come out on top, and what are the odds Russell Westbrook does record a triple-double in the first ever playing games ever? Stay tuned after this. We are now offering a new product on our Teespring. Wear a mask in public. We are now supporting a custom-designed mask with our logo on it. Purchase it today, and 10% goes to a foundation of our viewers' choice. It offers a full nose and mouth coverage, single-sided print, includes 2 2-inch elastic ear loops, non-medical grade product, and finally, $1 from every mask sale is donated to a nonprofit to feed children in need. Enjoy today's episode. Welcome back here on the More Than Philly Sports Network as we continue to break down the play-in tournaments as they get underway. We have a long week ahead as far as the NBA, a long month and a half or so. As we get up to the NBA Finals, wherever they shall end up, if they are in Philadelphia, there will be full crowds there to celebrate the 76ers. Before we do get back to the NBA, we will take a game break to talk about 2 rising topics here. One being, of course, the PGA Championship. the hype continues to grow. It is only Tuesday. We have 2 more days before it does start off. It's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it. We'll continue to cover it. But again, interviews, things like that. My favorite this week, Jordan Spieth. I'm pulling for him. If he does win, he will complete the career Grand Slam. It's going to be an interesting one. Major number 2 of 4 for this year.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you know who my favorite golfer is. Sadly, he's not going to be there. Just go around. Tiger, so wishing the best for you. I'm rolling with Dustin Johnson. I mean, that's the best golfer in the world. Am I supposed to bet against that? I mean, Zach, he didn't have the best of Masters. All right, the last time I watched golf, he didn't have the best Masters. But, there's one thing I learned in golf. It's anyone's game, really. I mean, Zach, me and you went on a little mini golf course, and you had a nice little three shot lead over me, and the next thing you know, you're losing by 3. Like that's how it falls. And Zach, I just want to make a major note. Did you see the course they're playing at? First of all, it's fabulous, Oceanside in South Carolina, right? And then second, it's windy. It's really windy. They're projecting
windy. It is the longest golf course ever played on. It's about 7,900 yards. It's insane. The rough is going to be 3.5 inches. It's going to be crazy. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a true test to the players. It's not necessarily U.S. Open grade conditions, but with the wind, it might quite be up there.
I mean, with the wind, Zach, it was terrible on Sunday. I saw a picture. It looked nasty. Then over the week, it's kind of calmed down. But, Zach, it's not to the point where you can go outside and hit a golf ball and expect to go straight. This wind could either take the ball for further drive, it could change the course. But I'm excited to watch. I mean, Dustin Johnson, I'm pulling for you. If not, I guess I'll lose my money again.
Hey, we'll see how it rolls out. With that being said, the final game break before we get back to it. Philadelphia Phillies against the Miami Marlins at home tonight. Going to be an interesting one. We're just trying to figure out some of the potential lineups for tonight and starting pitchers. I believe, is it Zach Wheeler tonight? I don't even remember who pitched last. I'll confirm that. But yes, Phillies game tonight, 7:05 against Miami at home. There's no reason the Phillies should not win this game. They needed a day off, much needed. They need to win tonight.
Zach, I'm glad. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speechless because I don't know what to say about this team. 1 minute, Zach, you got me so excited. I came on the show and I praised them. And I praised them. And I gave them all sorts of praise. Zach, I was saying, you never heard me talk highly about the Phillies at all in this talk show. What happened after that? Maybe I should just go back to being negative. Zach, the Phillies aren't going nowhere. Maybe I should just do that. Maybe let's try reverse psychology. Because when I said that, the Phillies go on a hot streak. They win. They look like the best team in the division at one point. You get 5 games above 500, and just to go back to just a single game. Zach, I don't know anymore. This team disappoints me, and Gene Segura should be fired. And I can't. I mean, I need someone else to blame. I can't blame Matt Klentak. I did my job. So let's get Gene Segura out of here. I'm tired of him.
Phillies are 1 game back in the division. The New York Mets also playing tonight against the Atlanta Braves. The Braves could do us a favor there. Lineup for tonight: Andrew McCutchen, Gene Segura, Bryce Harper, Rhys Hoskins, Alec Boehm, Abdul Herrera, Andrew Knapp, Nick Maton, and Zach Wheeler. Not too much of a surprise here. Just trying to see. Boehm is at third, Maton's at short, Segura at second. And everything else seems to be pretty normal. Herrera in center, McCutchen in left, and Harper and right with Zach Wheeler on the mound. Before we get back to basketball, Gavin, any predictions for tonight's game with Zach Wheeler on the mound?
Phillies lost. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm not going to give you a score. It's just going to be Phillies lost. They're going to lose in the most Phillies fashion ever. You're going to have 6 runs on the board, and the bullpen steps in, and those 6 runs didn't even matter because they're going to lose 7-6. Oh, and Zach, real quick, I just want to point something out. Last night's game, a scary sight with Kevin Pillar. You get hit in the face with a 94-mile-per-hour fastball. You don't like to see that, but Zach, it was a scary sight. I'm glad to hear that he's okay, just doing well. But that's not the first time we see somebody get hit in the face this year in the game, especially in division rivals. Like, I don't know. What's your opinions on that?
I don't think anyone ever tries to intentionally hit someone in the face. It's a scary sight. Pitchers need to be aware of their powered 94-mile-per-hour plus. I mean, that hurts. Harper fortunately walked away luckier than what this situation might be, but it's scary. And sometimes, pitchers have to know their control. It's part of the game, though. There's no no malintent from what I see. But it is a tough one to really comprehend.
It's one of those things where you got guys that don't really work on control anymore. I mean, everybody, and especially in the bullpen, it's all about gas. How hard you can throw the baseball. I mean, Zach, we seen Aroldis Chapman hit 102, Jordan Hickson hit 101. I mean, Zach, those are numbers that I'm nowhere near going to hit. I can give you 50, and that's lucky. And 50 is just me being generous because I'm on a talk show. But is less control, more velocity, and I think
That's the game nowadays.
As a game nowadays, it's more velocity, more up to produce more runs. Like I see in the future, it's going to be a requirement for hitters that wear like helmets, face guards. I think that's what they call them. They come around your face.
I don't know. It depends. With the velocities going up, it definitely gets scarier, but I'm not sure how much more as compared to the past. We'll continue to see it as different occurrences occur. With that being said, we are going to go back to the NBA and basketball. Of course, just talking about the PGA Championship this week, as well as the Philadelphia Phillies. They get ready to kick off. It is 20-7, Indiana. 7:32 left in the first quarter. Strong start for them. Charlotte's got to pull their own weight. Coming up after this, Boston Celtics, Washington Wizards. Who would have thought Boston would be here? Without Jaylen Brown, can they get the job done? Stay tuned for our thoughts.
Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this.
Who would have thought Boston would be sitting in the 7th seed? That's crazy to think about. Gavin, what went wrong for Boston this year?
COVID happened. Kemba Walker never really got his footing. Brad Stevens, and I guess you want to say coaching and then keeping the player motivated. Your lack of center, Zach. I like Taco Falls or your Mike Bean, Taco Bell. That's what happens when I watch the Knicks. And Zach, you lose Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown was having a career high 24 points per game this year. He was an all-star for the first time. Zach, it should have been his first time. It should have been his third time, in my opinion. But let's go back. It starts with Jason Tatum getting COVID. Jason Tatum getting the virus really slowed him down. Zach, he said it before. He said he now never used to use an inhaler. Now he has to use one. And if you want to get technical, it goes back to Kemba Walker and his knee injury early before the season even started, where Kemba Walker missed the first 3 weeks of the season through the knee injury. And Kemba Walker hasn't really looked like himself. Cardiac Kemba, the UConn alum. Zach, you know how I love Connecticut, and he just doesn't look like that guy no more. There's something wrong with Boston this year, and it's surrounding their 3 stars. If you're Danny Ainge, you have to sit down and be like, all right, look, these 3 guys are it. Do you keep Kemba Walker? I don't know. I mean, I would give him another year. We signed him to a 4-year deal. I think his 4th year is coming up after this, or he'll be 3 years after that. And then your supporting cast. Your supporting cast is not the best, Zach. It's time to let Marcus Smart go, even though he was battling with injuries and stuff. But your supporting cast, and it's time for you to get a true big man down low. You don't have one. Daniel Tice, who you had before, is garbage. I like Tristan Thompson, but he's not the answer. And like I said, Taco Falls is he's too tall to be playing the game because he's too slow. Zach, you can go right by him. This team is poorly built supporting cast-wise, and they need to rebuild. And they need to – I mean, Brad Stevens is a great coach. He should get a pass this year, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, this goes back deeper than this year. It goes back to the 2018 Eastern Conference Final. You're coming back from the next year. You got Kyrie, Al Horford, Jason Tatum comes out of nowhere, Jaylen Brown, and then they drop the ball. You let Kyrie walk. I don't know what went down there. I can't blame them because in Cleveland the whole thing went down as well, and it probably will in Brooklyn as well. But you let Kyrie walk. You let Horford walk. You don't adequately replace Al Horford. I would say you did adequately replace Kyrie Irving, but at what price? Terry Rozier, who was good with you and fit very well, you overpay, in my opinion, Kemba Walker. You lose out on one of your good depth pieces, and now you're stuck with Marcus Smart on the bench, who's no scrub. Marcus Smart's a very good player. You botched the draft trading Matisse Thybulle for Carson Edwards and a couple of picks. You draft Peyton Pritchard over Tyrese Maxey and a few others. Just you get Tristan Thompson, which is not adequate. You lie about Kemba's injury this year. It all just comes crashing down. Honestly, there's not a big surprise that Boston ended up where they are. They do have a lot of rebuilding to do, but I think if they had let Kyrie walk, at the very least, you want to keep Terry Rozier. I think they kind of pulled quick on that one, build around Jason Tatum. They failed to do that. There's too many mouths to feed and not enough of a supporting cast, as you said, Gavin.
And then you bring in Evan Fournier, who's looked like hot garbage. Like, I didn't know he went there because he airballed everything he took. When they moved and got Evan Fournier, we thought that Boston made a fantastic move. Zach, I mean, did you even know he was there after that? I didn't know.
He's number like 91 or something for them, isn't he? He's some random number.
It's terrible. 91, that's how many shots he made in the last however games he played. That's so long. But look, if you look at Boston, it starts with a supporting cast. It starts with down low. I agree with you, Zach. When it comes to when you let Al Horford walk, you didn't get a replacement that summer. You didn't really get. You just try to fill gaps here and there. Well, you thought Enes Kanter was going to be the answer. No, it wasn't. Well, you thought Daniel Tice. No, it wasn't. And then you thought drafting a 7'9" person and Taco Falls was going to be the answer. But guess what's like? Oh, he's too slow. I mean, I don't know what if you're the Boston Celtics. I don't know what you had to do. You should have got Andre Drummond in the buyout market when he was there, because that's the guy you need. So to grab rebounds when Kemba Walker misses a shot. When you talk about Kyrie Irving, it's like I'm not going to sit there and blame Kyrie Irving as a problem, because that's not fair. We don't know Kyrie Irving personally to label him as this character. But when it comes to Kyrie Irving, how Boston left, yes, something went down. Terry Rozier came out on national television to say when he came back, it wasn't as fun no more. And if you want to point out in that season, when Gordon Hayward came back, Gordon Hayward did not look like himself, like the Gordon Hayward that we saw this past season. Gordon Hayward looked helpless out there. He looked out of shape. He looked uncomfortable on the court. Some people felt bad for him. Those are the words from other players that I've heard on ESPN. Gordon Hayward was the downfall of that team because of his injury. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Gordon Hayward. I'm just calling out the facts. Kyrie Irving, yes, Zach, when you brought Kyrie Irving back, that's taking away shots from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, which when you had scary Terry Rozier, everybody was eating. That's what makes this Hornets team so good, Zach, even though they're down right now, which is not going to help my point. That's what makes the Hornets team so good, because scary Terry does not demand the ball. He'll get his points, but he'll share the ball as well. And finally, Zach, this all falls on Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge. We were talking about this Boston Celtics being the team of the future. You traded away Isaiah Thomas after a year he had and got hurt in the playoffs. You traded away for Kyrie Irving, and you basically swap point guards. Kyrie's not there, and you go out and get Kemba Walker, which the move I like, because I didn't want Kemba Walker in Charlotte no more. That's not working out. So at what point do you have to look at Danny Ainge and say, well, why is this supposed to be the team of the future? Right now, we look like the past. What happened to the present, Zach? I don't understand that. And then finally, Zach, when you look at how Brad Stevens has coached the team, there's some things that came up that Brad Stevens wasn't, a great in-person coach in the locker room, or motivator down the stretch. I'm not going to question Brad Stevens. He's a great X's and O's guy, but maybe you need a coach that does the extra mile. What makes Steve Nash and that coaching staff so good? Steve Nash is not the head coach. He's more like the players coach. It's like the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and defense coordinator. That's Mike D'Antoni's offense we're seeing in Brooklyn, and that's whoever their defensive minded coach is, when they might not have one because they're historically the worst defense. But Zach, Steve Nash is the motivator, the players guy, the guy that keeps everybody together, the glue to that team. Same thing in Philly. Doc Rivers does it all. He's the players coach, and then you have everybody else. You have to find what's going on in Boston. It's time that you look at Danny Ainge and say, the seat's starting to get warm, in my honest opinion.
I think it is warm. They've dropped the ball numerous times. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Washington Wizards, Boston Celtics tonight. It's a tough pick for me, but I'm going to go with Boston. I think they secure the 7th seed. They turn it up tonight. I think the Wizards do end up beating the winner of the Pacers game, which currently is at 32-16, 32-18. Pacers leading right now in the first quarter. But yes, I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics tonight.
I'm going to go with the Washington Wizards, and here's why. Zach, the Brody is on the tear. Zach, even though Bradley Beal's hamstring is a concerning factor because he barely played the last 4 out of 5 games, the last 5 games they had, Russell Westbrook came alive ever since Bradley Beal has been out. Triple doubles. We've seen him pass Oscar Robertson. You have a point guard and a guard that can. You have a guard that can score, and you have a point guard that can facilitate, slow the game down, move things, score when needed to, grab rebounds, put teammates in better position. All Bradley does is score. All Russell Westbrook do is Russell Westbrook things. All the supporting casters do is grab popcorn and make sure they do their damn job. That's all they have to do, Zach. I mean, this team, the Washington Wizards are peaking at the best point right now. Zach, they're on the rise right now, all right? It may not look like it, and you could say the schedule that they're playing might not, support my argument, but they're on the rise. If you watch Washington basketball over the past maybe 3 weeks, they've been on the rise, Zach. And finally, Boston dropped their 10 out of the last 15 games. That's enough said right there.
It's going to be a good game tonight for sure. I do have 7 and 8 Boston and Washington will both end up in it. I have Washington playing Philly in the first round. Boston and Brooklyn might be a better series than we think, but we'll have to continue to stay tuned and watch it. Gavin, before we do go, anything else you wanted to say before I get our top headlines of the day?
The Boston Celtics played the New York Knicks. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this in all seriousness. I'm not saying this as a joke. I mean, honest when I say this. The Boston Celtics didn't look like they gave a damn at all when they played. I mean, Zach, did you see them? The New York Knicks basically had them in their hand and closed them. They didn't have a care in the world. Zach, that's been the problem with the Boston Celtics. They've been dropping games as of late and just not been able to close the deal, nor being close to close the deal at all. The Celtics are going home, ladies and gentlemen. They're not going. They're going home this year.
It's a bold take. A team that was in the Eastern Conference Final 3 of the last 4 years. Quite an insane run for them.
And how do you not sorry to cut you off, Zach, but once again, at what point do we have to look at Brad Stevens and say, 3 out of the last 4 years, okay, why are you not in the finals yet? You were up 3-1 you had LeBron James in the Game 7. You played against Miami, which, in all honesty, no one thought Miami was supposed to be there. And Zach, is there another team I'm missing?
Cleveland twice.
And Cleveland twice, exactly. Why are you underperforming? I mean, Zach, when it came to D Wade and Shaq in Miami, they had a coach, but guess what? That coach didn't take him to the next level. So what they do, they fired that coach and they got someone else going to take it to the next level. We saw it with,
We saw it with the late 80s Chicago Bulls. We saw it with the Golden State Warriors. That's the same thing. We could potentially see it with the 76ers.
Like Doc Rivers is going to take them to. Brett Brown. No way. The Sixers is going to be number 1 in the East with Brett Brown.
Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr.
Exactly. You always the X's and O's is great, but sometimes you have that extra push. Zach, we saw it in the Last Dance. Dave Collins knew he was on his way out. For who? Phil Jackson. And what happened when Phil Jackson gets there? They win titles. Phil Jackson goes to L.A. They upgrade. Pat Riley was a great coach there. What happens? You formulate some PG, gets a couple guys, and then they win titles there too. Sometimes, as great as a coach is, sometimes you need someone else that can take you over to the next level. That's what we're watching right now.
Quite possibly. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching us today. We appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be back most likely with the Western Conference play-in tournament. We're excited to continue to see how the playoffs
Warriors!
Lakers Warriors tomorrow night. With that being said, go Phillies. Thank you everybody again for watching us. And have a great, great night.
Steph Curry. We're arguing tomorrow. We'll be back. Have a good one, everybody.
2 kids from Akron. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a good one.
If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.